All right. Hi, Fosu. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good, Lizzy. It's good to be here. How are you?
Thank you. I am good. I'm setting up the new studio right now. I
Nice.
I had 1,000 pieces on my floor yesterday, and I was like, we're just gonna put the phone away, put everything away, and get to it. We built the desk, and we're finishing acoustic treatments later today after the podcast. So it's good. It's nice to have your own space, kind of like the space that you have behind you.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agreed. Once you're able to like put your own space together and feel at home in it, it's really special. So congratulations
Thank
in
you very
advance.
much.
Yeah.
It's very cool because it's like in this kind of genre and being a producer as well as like a vocalist, rapper, lyricist,
Yeah.
you can kind of do what you do writing wise anywhere. Like I can do whatever I want on a laptop. You can do whatever you want
Right.
in a notepad with a USB mic, but there's something so special about being able to have a space to walk into to kind of get your mind in that creative flow where you're just able to experiment and explore and it's like a safe space.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, this space, I call it the orchid room. Like this space is definitely that for me. I really wish I could record in this space. I mean, I was recording in this space a little bit, and I built like a little like foam padded cardboard like little enclave. But
Mm-hmm.
it was just making it too cluttered here. Like already, I got like mic stands and all kinds of stuff. Like all like
Yeah.
and this is more to be kind of like the Zen space than. But it's. I mean, I just led a retreat, a meditation retreat from like right here. But yeah, if so, I'm recording right now in my closet, which is much less glamorous than this. But but the goal would be to turn one of the rooms in the house into that like cool like personal inspirational space as you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But right now my 7-year old is in Zoom school, and
Oh,
so the office is a classroom right now. So
oh,
when
absolutely.
yeah, when the world comes back around, I'll probably turn that room into a studio. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, always like that's awesome that is it a boy, girl?
Girl,
Girl,
my
oh,
daughter.
that's
Yeah.
adorable. Well, that's good that, you're creating a space for her to be able to kind of isolate and learn
Yeah,
and have that
definitely.
space. But yeah, I literally have the vocal booth I'm building is in the closet right now. I think that's like the home remedy
Yeah,
for
for
a
sure.
proper vocal booth. But it's
Yeah,
like even in that space there, it's still a place for you to write and like feel fun
definitely.
with yourself and all of that shit.
For
But
sure.
so tell me about the retreat you led. How
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
do it via Zoom? That's crazy. Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, so there's this so I taught a there's a meditation center called Heartwood Refuge in North Carolina, but I'm trying to remember exactly like where. But it's in North Carolina, and I right before like a week before lockdown back in March, I taught a 3-day retreat there, and then they asked if I would teach another one in the new year, kind of hoping that the world would have come back to normal by then,
Right.
but it hadn't, and I was still on the schedule to teach. So they had been doing, I think I was the first. I think they'd done a few Zoom retreats prior, but
Hmm.
this was like the first one of the new year. And they sent out registrations like a normal retreat, but then
Yeah.
once you registered, you got a Zoom link. And I was just here. We had about 15 people attending. It's cool because like normally on a meditation retreat you leave home, you go to a certain place, but this time like people got to turn their homes into little retreat spaces. And if you want what the retreat, so we did 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. every day.
So
You
long
wake.
days.
Yeah, long days, yeah, for sure. Like, you wake up and you do well, we'd have like a 45-minute sit in the morning with like announcements, and then we do walk-in meditation, come back for a little sit and a little talk, and then back to like walking and moving, back to another sit, back to walking and moving, then break 2 hours for lunch, then come back, and then I'd give a talk for like an hour or something like that, and then do another piece of movement, come back, and then I'd do a sound bath for like 45 minutes to close it out.
That's
And
amazing. What's a sound bath?
Oh, okay. A sound bath is
Oh,
well
it's with the
with my
the
singing bowls.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That's so cool.
like this is one of my bowls here. I don't know if that's coming through,
It
but
is. I feel
yeah.
like I would be asleep and out like that, like a light.
Yeah, that's kind of the point is to like get into like a really like relaxed vibration and to let the sounds do their thing. So
That's amazing.
I have like 7 of these.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for each chakra, and yeah, so I do a sound bath at the end, and then repeat. The theme was on renewal and healing and transformation. Just coming into the new year. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was dope. It was really, really powerful. Lots of depth of feeling, and just even with it being on Zoom, it was really powerful. Yeah.
Well, you would hope like it's such, we're adapting because this is
Yeah.
definitely a way of life that even our grandparents, great grandparents have not seen or lived
I
through.
know. I know.
And it's, you would hope that the people who attended your retreat now take kind of an outer source instead of going somewhere to get in that sense of mind. They can
Right.
create the space in their home, which
Yeah.
honestly, in my perspective, is potentially more beneficial than
Yeah.
going somewhere, is being able to have that safe space in your home where you can go and
Sure.
meditate and kind of like relax from the day and let go. But
Yeah.
so could anybody attend, or was it kind of just through a school?
No,
Or
no, no. This was open to anybody, and I think the majority of the retreats and the sessions that I try to do are really like drop in, no prior experience necessary. You can have years of experience or zero experience. Like and then I try to always work with the person who has the least. I always try to accommodate the person with the least amount of experience, and then it just gives people with years of experience an opportunity to like reconnect with just like the basics and the fundamentals and stuff. Yeah. So
absolutely. I
yeah.
find that in teaching too. Like when I teach students, which is
Yeah.
something that I did briefly pre-pandemic era,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
but definitely now I have about 20 to 30 students who I teach regularly.
Yeah. What
And
do you
it's
teach?
I teach everything. I do guitar lessons for
Oh,
little
nice.
kids, keyboard lessons for little kids, but then I do basic production lessons, I do basic mixing lessons, and then I
Wow.
do like uh kind of mentorship kind of confrontational things to take your brand or take where you want to go and be like, all right, what are you facing, how can we get to the other side of the bridge? So kind
Word.
of all across the board, but it's definitely something that has helped me, financially wise through this time. But what I think is really cool is going back to the basics, is that you forget about the basics a lot as you
Yeah,
progress. Because
definitely.
you're like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm thinking about, all right, what technique am I trying to hone next? What am I trying to get better at to get to the next level to make myself be as best as I can be? But you sometimes forget that 2+2 mentality.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
where the foundation is, because if you lose the foundation, you lose everything. So
Yeah.
so and it makes you better too. Like
Yeah.
I'll always go back to my own projects when working, and I'll be like, wow, well, I just covered this concept that's so basic with somebody the other day, and now I'm sitting here, and if I just apply what I taught the kid the other day that I learned in day one, I'd be over this hill. And so
Yeah.
I think that's really, really cool. And there's something special about somebody who not only likes to go back to the basics and revisit them, but apply them to, what you're currently learning and moving forward in.
Definitely, definitely. I think fundamentals are fundamental for a reason. So yeah.
Absolutely. But if anybody did not know, Bornai and I just had a track that dropped on Disciple Roundtables, Knights of the Roundtable compilation. We
That's
wrapped
right.
up. Yeah, I know. Very, yes, yes, yes. I remember when Emily, a mutual
Yeah.
friend of ours, put us
Shout
in
out to
contact.
Emily.
I know. I saw her the other day. And she's doing well, and everybody's been in a funk, but
I
she's
know.
doing well, and
That's great.
and I just said, thank you, because I don't really, like, I hold acquaintances with a lot of people, but my
Sure.
circle that I keep close to me is very small.
Yeah.
and you're just a wonderful person. And I feel like every time we communicated in text, it's just kind of like, there's very few people that I feel like I have relationships with that are all on positive notes. And it's all trying to look at things from kind of the top end and the better end, glass half full instead of half empty. So yeah, and I told her, we're going to do stuff in the future, and it's fucking awesome. When I had Vishal, who is the A&R for Disciple, on the other day, and I was always curious. I was like, okay, is it because I'm new to Disciple that it's like the last track, or is it this, or is it that? And he's like, me and John, 12 Planet, we're listening to the song, and we said, this has got to wrap it up. This has got to be the wrap up, because he said the second, before they even listened to any of the drops. So I got to thank you, because you're the reason that we got the song signed. But they were like, we looked at each other, and originally the compilation was supposed to come out in 2020 as the 100th release. But because of COVID, a lot of the releases got pushed back or didn't happen. And, he said that the message is just so strong. And I was very nervous for us to put it out, because, you think about dubstep and you think about bangers and this and that and getting down in the club and like all of that stuff. And I was nervous to the reaction, because you look at Disciple and you look at like Never Say Die, and that's where you get like rhythm, like heavy dubstep.
Big heavy dubstep.
Yeah. And people just love the track. I was nervous about it, and they were like, I've never really seen these two put together like this and executed as well as it was. And I love it. It just makes me so happy that people resonated with it, because a lot of the times you're like, when you're doing something that's very not kind of along the line that everywhere else is going, and right now, especially more than ever, it kind of seems like a lot of projects and things that people do are very similar to each other, because they go in the way that the market is developing. So to put out something that is very anti-normal and get as good of a reaction off the bat as we did is just amazing. I really couldn't ask for anything else. But and also, like, you've worked with just like huge artists. Like, I was just talking to Jessica the other day. You worked with Jessica. You've done stuff with Lucid, with so many people, with even Bass Nectar, Peekaboo, just all across the line. And I mean, what's your journey been like? Like, how did you even come to this genre? Because you are so zen for liking dubstep. Like usually I'm just like, man, a lot of these people are mad at the world, and they just gotta, everybody finds their expression in different genres of music. And then when I met you and I started following you and reading the things you post and all this stuff, I'm like, how the hell does this guy like bass music? But tell me.
Well, so first of all, just to talking about our song, what's funny is that I usually am also a little nervous about releases, but I had a feeling that this was going to be something that was going to be meaningful for people. And as a vocalist, I will say that I am, and no, just as an artist in general, I'm really always trying to campaign against the disposable attitude towards music. And so I feel like our song is a song that people can return to as a touch point, as a touchstone, and continue to be inspired by, as opposed to like that was the hot record that came out on that thing at that time, and and then that's that, you know what I mean? Like, I think that this is something that can be a track for the ages, and that's what I'm always wanting to create, that type of record that like doesn't really have a timestamp on it, you know what I mean? That's just like that can be revisited always, and that has like a long-lasting appeal. So I felt that just what you had done on the production side, and also the intensity and the power of the drops on the production side, I haven't really heard anything like that, in maybe ever, you know what I mean? So I just had a feeling that what we were putting together was going to be something really unique, and that people were going to resonate with it. So I'm glad that I had a really strong feeling about it when we put it together. And I mean, I am a little bit older, so I was a part of like the first the last leg of the first rave era, you know, that with artists like Benga and Koki and Joker, and you know what I mean, and I,
OGs.
yeah, the OGs of dubstep, and I was doing like dubstep mixtape. If you go to my SoundCloud, you might find like me rapping over dubstep from like I did like a flip, like a vocal flip of Joker's Purple City, like years and years ago. That's like one of the first things I did when I was when. So I started out, you know, as a hip hop artist, but also a drum and bass MC. So I, you know, and my music journey sort of just began both with hip hop and electronic music, you know. So as the DJs that I was working with, like AB Logic, who's a house DJ in New York, and Keon Asamoah, who started out as a drum and bass DJ, and now is like just kind of an open format, experimental kind of DJ. You know, they really gave me a lot of education on drum and bass and house and dubstep and later trap and you know, I always wanted to see as a rapper, someone who really loves lyrics. I always wanted to see, like, is it possible to rap over that? You know what I mean? Like classical music, like, can I rap over that? But what I learned in working with drum and bass is that as an electronic music vocalist, you are first and foremost a part of the composition and not necessarily, you know, the main feature of the track. You know what I mean? Like you are a melodic and percussive accompaniment to the overall composition. And that's step number one. So it was just, so there are like subtle adjustments in your approach, you know, how you approach like leading up to a drop, etc., and just and becoming a part of the build and all that type of stuff. But I still always wanted to say something meaningful. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the big thing. So yeah, so I've been a part of electronic music my whole career. You know, as far back as you can see that I've had records, you can see that I was doing hip hop and electronic music. But for a while I was doing hip hop kind of exclusively, and then my manager at the time, Tom Dern, rest in peace, love you brother, miss you. He reached out, you know, one day. I was kind of like at a crossroads. I had put out a single that had done really well, but we kind of ran out of budget, and I wasn't really. But that single is called Supreme Mathematics. It's a keys and crates flip, and it did really well on the EDM side, and it did really well on the hip hop side, and so it was doing really amazing on like the EDM.com like trap chart, you know, and on SoundCloud, you know, back in those days, and so Tom reached out to me and was like, you know, if you give me like 18 months and we just focus specifically on electronic music, you know, I think that I can have you working with some of the biggest names in the game. And so I didn't really have a card to play at that point in time, and I was like, sure. So we just kind of went on a tear through 2016, put out maybe like 100 records, you know, and then 2017 was kind of more of the same, and then but 2017 I think that's when I started working with Lucid, and then things started like, you know, picking up from there. You know, working with the first time I was on Disciple was a track with Dirt Monkey and Shank Aaron called What It Is, and yeah, from working with Lucid, you know, ended up working with Bass Nectar and developed like a close relationship with Spag Heddy, and then started putting out my own EDM records as the vocalist. That was like something that I really thought that, you know, hadn't really been done too much before. So I really wanted to, yeah. So I actually have an EP that's like just kind of chilling in the cut.
Sweet. Is that going to be on your new label?
I might put it out on my label. I have to talk to my distributor because Play Me actually wanted to sign it. So I might, yeah. My new label is kind of more for my hip hop projects than from my EDM projects. But yeah, so I've got, but yeah. I'm still evolving that EP. As a matter of fact, like it's got production from some pretty cool people. But I'd love if you'd be down to produce something for it as well.
I would love that. I mean, I remember after I did the live stream for you. Gosh, all the months kind of right now, they kind of just blend together.
Go together, I know.
Like one in like one little jar. I think it was sometime early fall.
I think so.
We had the conversation after my set, and at the time I was wrapping up my EP that's coming out this spring and wrapping up our track and everything.
Yeah.
And I would love to not only do that, but like I would love to do a collaboration EP with you down the line, because what you just touched on
absolutely
is that it's very, very rare when vocalists take the front position in electronic dance music. I had kind of a harsh realization this past year when it came to that, because you look at other genres and it's like the vocalist is it,
exactly.
To an extent, the rap, pop music, X, Y, and Z. The only kind of genres are when you go more into rock and like metal, where it's more of a team effort. But still, a lot of the time, you only focus on the vocalist, screamer, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And I think, even though I briefly, very little amount sang in our song Wild Style, I think it would be such a cool combination, combining singing, rapping, spoken word, and then having EDM underneath.
Absolutely.
Because you don't see it happen where it's only coming from a small team. When you see those kind of records, you've got 20 writers, 3 singers, 2 producers, X, Y, and Z. So I think it's really cool, and I think that's the next era where I feel like electronic dance music is going to move into this era of live music and live vocalists and start to take those elements and put them on stage with the DJ, because I foresee when, we are post-COVID, cross my fingers, and the festival stages happen again and all that stuff, the things that have always stood out to me, as well as the general consumer, is when you've got Flume up there with his keyboard, and you've got this vocalist that comes out, and you've got that rapper that comes out, and or Grizz picks up his saxophone and plays. And that's like, not only does, from the industry side, it give you a huge leverage. It is memorable, and people love seeing those different elements from different genres combined. And then you have a jazz break, you have a rock break, you have a pop singer break, and then you can go into a drop. And I think that is so cool, and I really feel like that forward thinking mentality is where EDM's going to go. But you've been doing that for so long, because you would make live appearances at festivals, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Guys.
Yeah.
So what's some of your favorite festivals that you've been able to perform at?
I think probably the pinnacle experience for me was Foam Wonderland in oh God, what's the name of that city? Foam Wonderland in, not Boise. I was in Boise with Lucid. I was in, oh my God. It was one of the Foam Wonderlands, and it was like in the Midwest. Damn it. Well, yeah, but there was definitely like 10,000 people. Wow. and it was just incredible. Yeah, it was probably, that experience was amazing. I think I know that it's a controversial topic, to bring up Bass Nectar. That being said, at Deja Vu,
big festival.
When he debuted the songs that we had done together, I was in the crowd, and I wasn't. I had just submitted my vocals. I had never really heard the finals, so I was in the crowd. I
can't imagine that. Oh my God!
That shit was next level. I mean, everybody around me was just like, dude, what the fuck? So it was really, really special. Yeah. So that was a really special moment. But Foam Wonderland, where Why can't I remember what city this was? Damn it. It was so lit. But anyway, it was amazing.
I feel like in the Midwest, they have these just like huge areas of land
Yeah.
where they can just build massive infrastructures and like
Yeah.
all of that stuff and just have people come and it not even be a big deal. Cause like here, where I live in Tampa, we have Sunset Music Festival that happens here
Yeah.
every year. But like we do it at the Raymond James Stadium since it's like
Yeah.
there's not enough like room. But in the
Yeah.
Midwest, there's like cornfields
All
everywhere.
kinds of
And
shit. It
all
was
that
just
stuff.
gigantic, huge space. It's
And the
huge outdoor
foam,
space.
all the foam everywhere. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing time, and there have been several, and then Echo Stage New Year's Day with Spag Heddy here in DC was also a peak experience. There have been several. There have been several, and then to be able to be like a co-headliner or support as a vocalist at an EDM show is I've been able to do that a couple
Huge.
times
That doesn't
here.
happen.
Yeah, no, it's rare. Yeah, so I mean, I did it at the Black Box in Denver, and we did it at in Baltimore here at Baltimore Soundstage, and yeah, so there's been a few of those opportunities. Yeah, it's been really special. I wanted to take, so shifting into just talking about my label, because I know we brought it up.
Yeah, I was going to literally touch on that right after this. It is called You Are Enough, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called YA. It has three iterations. You can either call it YAE or Yay or You Are Enough.
Sick.
and
I love when people do that kind of shit.
Yeah. So I wrote You Are Enough just gradually became like one of like the most important mantras and taglines for me. So it's like my message to humanity. I just that folks should just remember that that they don't have to make themselves more or less than anything. You are enough. And so and when I was thinking of a name for the label, I came up with a bunch of different things, but I feel that that YAE or Yay was the move. So I really wanted a vehicle to release. When I started, like when I was working with my publisher and we were like going through my catalog, and it was just like, man, there's like 150 official records out, but they're all signed to other labels. Like, you don't really have anything to call your own on any of these releases. So for my hip hop project, which is called In This Moment, I really wanted to just release something under my own imprint. So my first single from that project comes out on February 5th. And,
that's so soon.
Yeah, soon. Yeah, so we're starting to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're getting the promo stuff together and all that, getting ready for it. And yeah, I think what I would like to do ultimately is probably put together like a few dubstep flips of some of those records, and like that. But yeah, I mean that. So that's it. I signed an exclusive distribution deal with 1RPM, and they've been super supportive so far. I'm gonna drop. So my album will probably come out in June, and I'm just gonna drop singles from the project probably every month between now and then, and then we'll put that out, and there'll be the first video comes out right on the heels of the first single, and I am kind of nervous. Like I just hope that it's well received, and I hope it does well, but I also am reminding myself that it's like that I'm not just gonna drop the song and then just let it be. I'm gonna just continue to work the singles and put out videos and visuals, and probably do like little micro events where we can do like a 15-minute meditation and then preview the song type thing.
I
So
love it.
yeah.
I mean, it's just like your space, and now it's like your like baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't really have to. I mean, I love it because a lot of times in EDM, they're not. No, I probably shouldn't say this, but like they're not very forceful. I would like to say in this genre, you do have a lot of creativity with what you choose to do.
Yeah.
But it's like now you have all of the leadership and you have all,
Yeah,
like the power and ability to roll it out how you want to roll it out and do those
definitely.
like meditation breaks and meditation premieres that's like
Yeah,
this is me and it's another way to relate to me and be part of like my project.
for
So
sure.
did when you did like decided to commit to rolling out your own label, do you
Yeah.
have any intentions on potentially bringing other rappers, lyricists, producers on down the line, or is it more of a house for you just to release your own stuff?
I think I think I think ultimately I would like to be able to bring other artists on, and I think the safest thing to do is for me to be the guinea pig and to really work out the workflow, like
Mm-hmm.
and use myself as an example, learn what works and what doesn't, and drop a few projects, just by myself, and then probably in 22 start thinking about bringing on other artists. I mean, the a few of the rappers that I have been working with a few years ago now, they've got their own little operations going, and so. But it would be great to do a project. It'd be great to give a platform to artists who I know are underappreciated, but very, very dope. So I would so
There's so many of those,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
There's
it's
so many of those. It's
so
so
many of
amazing
those.
with like technology and everything that we have access to nowadays
Yeah,
that our parents didn't even really have access to, that gives us the ability to learn and
yeah,
progress and experiment. And
yeah,
it's really, really, really awesome. It's like really if you want to learn anything, you have a phone, you have a computer, you have the means, even books, you have the means to learn it and kind of
yeah.
make that dedication to go to the next step. You said Eco Stage, and that was my first rave ever.
Oh, really?
At
Here in
Eco Stage
DC?
here and there in DC. I went to GW for a year.
You did? Okay. I went to
And
AU. Yeah.
oh, okay, okay, awesome. That's amazing. I had
Word.
friends at American University, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
right.
I had
Yeah.
friends there. I had friends at uh, West Virginia,
Oh,
Virginia.
nice.
It was. I did the college thing for a year. I went for international affairs and Russian, and I thought I was gonna work in DC, and I thought I was gonna grow up and be political, and
Yeah.
then I said, why can't you do music for a living? Like, why
Right.
can't you do what you love to do? Because in my mind, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like it's time to grow up. It's time to go do
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tried it and I did it and I said, I'm still writing music and I'm still doing this. Like, why don't you try and go do that? So I transferred
Yeah.
to a trade school and I finished there and I got my degree in audio engineering and I'm happy as a
Nice.
bee. But yes, DC was my home for about a year and a half, and
Yeah.
I saw. Gosh, I don't even remember who it was. Oh gosh, the man who may not be named, Mr. Datsik, is who I saw.
Oh,
Yes, and
Datsik was Mr. Echo Stage for a while. So
yeah, so
yeah.
that's who I saw, but it was a massive lineup. It was like Datsik and three other huge guys. I think it was like
Yeah.
Eptic and someone else and someone else. And I just
Yeah.
remember going there and I was like, I'm at a festival right now. This isn't a club. This is a
No.
festival.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I saw Chami there and very, very amazing venue. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
reason why it's number one, not only
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
its
Yeah.
size, but it's a very cool atmosphere.
For sure.
So where are you at up there? Where do you live?
Oh, okay. So I'm in the DC metro area, so
Oh my
that's
goodness.
like
I had
that's
no idea you were in DC.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's
Holy shit.
pretty
Yeah.
fucking crazy up here right now, yeah. But
Oh my
I'm
God.
about 30 minutes outside of the city, so it's not as
Okay.
I'm not in ground zero, but we've been shooting this video for my project, and
Yeah.
um I've had to go in and pick up the director, and he lives a block away from where everything was
Everything
happening.
is
So we've
happening.
yeah,
Oh
so
my
we've had to postpone things and etc. Like
Yeah.
yeah, we were supposed to shoot on January 6th, and I was supposed to go get him, and then it was like, wait,
He was like, wait, I
think
remember going on. Yeah, I think not.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you're safe.
Thank
and,
you.
And yeah, your family's safe and all
Yeah,
of that
thank
stuff. I
you.
have friends up there as well.
Yeah.
And it's a weird time. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like reflecting that I feel like it was a long time coming and
Yeah,
something that was
definitely.
developing, and it just hit the peak, and it was like,
Yeah.
here's everything that everybody was ignoring for the last 3 decades.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just going to kind of hit you in the face.
Yeah.
I hope tomorrow at 12 o'clock that things will maybe kind of sort of make us feel a little bit better in a sense,
I think
but
they
but
will.
I mean, I hate to like open this can of worms because I could never put myself in your position, but
Sure.
like, how has it been seeing all of this really come to light in the last year? And I commend you for not only being a light in our community and an example for
Thanks.
everybody to, keep on pushing forward. And it's kind of, you look at you look at this whole issue and concept, and it's kind of like the time never runs out. There's never a
Yeah.
timer on something like this, and
Yeah.
the progression that we make towards co-unity is a very long marathon to run.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I am so sad and regretful and unfortunate of everything that has happened in this past year, but I also feel like it's brought to light things that were being pushed aside
Yeah.
continuously. And just like, in your community, how are you guys doing? Are you guys doing okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think if you ask, I think you'll get a different answer depending on who you ask. For me, um for me, I saw 4 years ago. I saw what was starting to happen as a symptom of words and feelings and attitudes that have been unsaid for a long time. And and I think that people people had deep-seated feelings, across the board. And there's a lot of racism and inequality that is just a part of American society. And I think that there are people who would like to keep it that way, but the environment wasn't conducive for those type of people to express themselves. But then the environment became more conducive for people to start saying all kinds of shit and being all kinds of ways. But I mean, I kind of felt like I'd rather people just say what they say and be how they say what you really feel, than pretend and then to hide. What I think was remarkable also were the words Black Lives Matter no longer becoming controversial, but something that everybody could understand finally. I released a song called I Can't Breathe 5 years ago, and I re-released it after the death of Eric Garner, and no, well, I released it from the death of Eric Garner 5 years ago, and I re-released it after the death of George Floyd.
George Floyd, yeah.
And I don't know. That was, my dad is from Ghana in West Africa, and
Wow.
he was saying that the way that black people have been treated in this country always made it. He always maintained his Ghanaian citizenship, like he'd always like renew his passport or whatever, but still, just as like a silent protest, But
Yeah.
after seeing people of all races come together in the support of Black Lives Matter as a movement, he was like, I really feel like I can become an American citizen now. So there were just many positives, but then also just a lot of crazy shit as well. So I think that history trends towards the ultimate good of humanity if you look at the long arcs of it,
Yep.
you know?
Instead of the short, bad
Yeah.
humps.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm always hopeful that human beings will continue to work hard towards getting their acts together. I mean, I've experienced one of the things that is very hard to explain to people who haven't experienced subtle racism or institutionalized racism, as a black person in electronic music, that's definitely something that I have experienced a lot, and
You
it's
like many others who I have talked to. Yeah.
yeah, just whether it's people treating you like you don't belong, or seeing you as a threat or an outsider, or making like microaggressive comments and shit, and or just yeah, just kind of seeing the racist undertones of label policies and things like that.
Yep.
It's definitely, I in talking with like with John, with 12th and Armani Rain and a bunch of other of the black artists in electronic music. That all we all share similar experiences, and it takes you remembering that I'm here for the music, I'm here for the wider community,
Yeah.
like the culture of the music and the connection with the people is the most important thing. So I'm not going to allow ignorance to get in the way of that. Yeah. So I don't know. That's like a long answer to your short question.
No, that was amazing. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was like tearing up just a little bit. I was like that close.
Yeah.
But it's not about the people who control the industry. It's about the people who listen to the music and
Yeah,
and be able
absolutely.
to. It takes a very strong soul and mentality, because I've seen a lot of, again, I have never even been close to gone through what yourself and other people of color have had to go through oppression wise, even in our industry. But as a woman in our industry, I have gone through things, I want to say, that are semi relatable to the things that you have gone through,
Sure.
because the ratio of women to predominantly, white males, as
Yeah.
the ratio of artists that are people of color to white males running our industry, a lot of people, either for their own, a lot of times it's their own personal insecurities that kind of come out and show in the way that they act. They're very hesitant to change, and I think change brings progression.
Yeah.
And again, it's something that has to be approached long-winded, marathon wise, instead
Yeah.
of a sprint. But fortunately, our industry is in a great place compared to where it was at 30 years ago, 40 years
Yeah.
ago. But
Definitely.
we have a long, 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 long way to go. And I can't wait to see what our industry looks at when I'm 50 years old, when I'm
Yeah.
60 years old. And it's little mile markers. And you can choose to, look at the situation and be upset or angry towards situations where you were, looked down upon or lost an opportunity because
Yeah.
how you look or the position you're sitting in or the gender you are. Or you can choose to rise above it and say, this is what's going to make me better. And that's why I feel like we have some of the best artists in our industry are people of color, and some of the most hardworking people I know in our industry are women.
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
and it's something that I wish more people talked about, i.e. why I started the fucking podcast, because it's like the more that I feel like everybody's scared to like step on toes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. For
it's
sure.
it's always, and that's what I was talking to Bandles about the other day, is like, our content that we create as artists is us sitting in a room in a creative space for, X amount of months writing an album, X amount of years writing an album, an EP, a song.
Yeah.
And the way that our society has progressed with social media, it's like now you have to be an artist and you have to be a TikToker and a reel
Yeah.
maker, and don't forget about the press photos and the daily funny tweets.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to make it, because everybody wants the same amount of content the same way, and it's making all of these projects kind of mesh together. Therefore, all of the songs are sounding the same. all of the
Yeah.
things are following the same structure. And the listenability that you talked about in the beginning with our track,
Yeah.
the revisit, the re-listen, it's something that will be relevant forever. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, anytime somebody listens to it, they could be
Yeah.
going through some personal shit in their life where it's like, damn, I really needed to hear that. And there's something very special in that. And I think the more people can stop worrying about stepping on toes and thinking about what other people think, which I get it. It's so hard. I go through it all the time. I'm sure you go
Yeah.
through it too. I mean, we're
Definitely.
basically putting ourselves on a pedestal, making scary, distorted noises, asking people to judge us and love us
Yeah.
and posting pictures and posting political thoughts, man. When I started to post political shit, I lost 500 followers overnight,
Wow.
and I was like, all right, bye. I don't want you in the community that I'm building.
Yeah.
I rather have, just like my circle of friends, I rather
Yeah.
have a small, tight knit group of friends that I can really be like, you're honest with me, I'm honest with you. We're
Yeah.
gonna hold ourselves accountable, and that's what I want in my community that I'm building. And that's what you already have in your community that you're building. Some of the comments on when I announced I had a song with you, they're like,
Yeah.
Bornai is the fucking man, dude. And I'm like, yes, he is.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's so weird. Like in 10 years, people are gonna read about this in textbooks and they're gonna read about it. And
I know.
It's sad that we had the pause in our life and the shift in our life, and change is so scary, and it sucks that there were financial burdens and other economic burdens and losing family members, and it's a mess, but like, we're here and we're living through it, and we're still alive and we're still breathing, and we're gonna make it to the other side. I think we're gonna, and when we
for sure.
the other side, I can tell you right now that a lot of fucking people have had wake-up calls in this bout of time where when you take them out of their daily routine, it scares the shit out of them, like it scared the shit out of me. But then you say, okay, like, why am I not comfortable being alone with myself? Why am I not comfortable, taking a deep breath and turning off the phone, taking a deep breath and reading a book? And the first way to get over that kind of stuff is by looking it straight in the eye and saying, okay, there's a bit of an issue. How do we get past this?
Yeah.
And I think the appreciation for life and food and our family and our friends and music festivals and shows is getting and has gotten a lot greater than it used to be.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
So I'm very intrigued to see the way that life will be after we are over this. And I understand we're not going to go, oh, back to normal, da, 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 da. But there will come a time where, 3/4 of our population will probably still wear masks wherever they go, but things will open up. Things will open up just like any society will. And we'll get back to normal. And, it's going to be interesting, and I'm definitely excited for it. And I'm excited for these new labels like yourself. I see a lot of artists starting labels, which is fucking tight, because you have like fucking millions and billions of streams, and you yourself know how shitty the payout is on streams for music. For sure. And and it's sad because a lot of people, I think, don't realize until it's potentially too late or they've made a mistake that this is a business. And there's a reason why businessmen run this industry that have no care take for art and the craft itself
whatsoever.
And I want to hope that this starts to inspire a time where these artist-based labels kind of grow, and then we can start to see artists stepping in positions at these huge distribution platforms. Because if anything, this has taught us that the music we make should be more valuable than making less than minimum wage.
Exactly.
And it's like, think about how many people listen to music for like at every emotion to get them through stuff. I've cried the most I've ever cried alone listening to music, and it's gotten me through it, so it's just like it's something that should be, I feel like the artist and the actual music should be praised a lot more than the social media content.
Yeah, for
And that's
sure.
where I feel like it's been like lost,
Yeah.
because the content is here, and if you don't maintain the output of consistent content,
Yeah.
no one's going to listen to the stuff that really matters.
Yeah.
And it needs to switch.
Yeah, I
On
mean,
a switch.
it's true though, because I mean, then because even when you're hitting them with like bomb content, and then you hit them like with a week of bomb content, and then you finally are just like, okay, now here, listen to my song. Then that's a lot of times that's the post that's like not
doing well.
not doing well, because
Yeah.
it's like, because you're asking them for something now. So I don't, you know, it's tricky, and that's like, it's like I've worked so hard on this project, you know, and so it's like, damn, I really, really want this to do well, and
Years of work.
yeah, for
Years.
sure, you know, and so like, I think, but I don't think that I wasn't gonna wait around for like another label to sign it, you know what I mean? I think that I just have the ability to put this out, and so like I kind of am trying to, I'm trying to have like great expectations, but like very like sort of localized execution. Like I'm just like, you know, I just want to, I want to connect deeply with the people whom this connects deeply for. If that doesn't do the same amount of numbers as like a trap record I did on Tribal, or like, you know, like a dubstep record I did with Spag or something like that, but it connects deeply with this like core group of people, then I know that like we can just continue to build it out, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's, I think the risk that I'm a little, I'm used to doing a certain amount of numbers, just because
Yeah.
because I'm, you know, label releases,
The
etc.
artists you work with.
Yeah, all that type of stuff. So this is like really, you know, zeroing it back in to just me and like this community. And so it's like, you know, I don't have like a listenership that I can take for granted. So it's like, whatever I'm doing on social media, all of this stuff is just, I just want it to be meaningful, and for it to make a meaningful connection with people, and for it to like sort of grow organically in that way. So on the one hand, it's a little scary, but on the other hand, it's like this, I know this is the way, you know.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. And it's just kind of like looking at the longevity wise too. It's like,
Yeah.
off the bat, releasing with like a huge label or a more established label may get you those immediate numbers, but on the back end, it's like, was it really worth it? Because 4 days later, they're going to be putting out another EP.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you know, they've got this whole demographic that follows them, and it's just kind of like with what we were saying with the content and the actual music, is like, I feel like the reason why our music posts don't get the interaction or engagement we would hope for it to get, even if we
Right.
put a whole plan ahead of it, is
I
because
know.
there's just so much on the internet, and there's so
Yeah.
much to scroll through. So
Yeah.
it's like, even if you see something and you're like, oh, I could click that link, or I could just see what everybody else is up to. And
Right.
it's like you're competing with the content of pictures and copy pasta and
Yeah.
this and this and that. And I totally believe that the way that you're doing it is the right way to do it. I have my own intentions of starting a label in probably like
nice.
3 to 4 years, because
Word.
I think that's just really the longevity way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's also in the back of my head is kind of like, with all of this toxicity happening on social media nowadays, and, you know, the cancellation and this and this and that.
Yeah.
Let me put a disclaimer out there. If you are a sexual predator, sexual assaulter, have had any of those things happen, you should absolutely not have a place in this scene.
For
It is
sure.
not okay. But to disagree with somebody's political opinion or the way
Right.
they choose to live their life,
Yeah.
and to try and cancel them for it, I don't
Yeah.
really think is okay.
No, I don't
And-
think that's
and
cool either.
yeah. And I think that it's just it's something that I hope, with everything opening up, that we start to get away from.
Yeah.
And I know it co-aligns with everything going on today, and the lack of jobs and the lack of this and the lack of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But a lot of those people that kind of want to cancel you, whether they're mad at the world or mad at their own life or their own situation, they've never spent a dollar to support you as an artist.
Right.
And then here they are trying to take away, your livelihood that you
Right.
worked 10 plus years for.
Yeah.
Whereas with you releasing on a label, you have this, it may be a smaller audience, but you have this audience that is buying your music, is going to buy your merch, is going to go to your shows and support you. And having a lesser amount of people go out of the way because it's something they want to do is debatably much better than paying for plays, paying for playlisting, likes, getting a ton of lights off photo, da-da-da-da. And that's just my personal opinion.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, it's the long game. Yeah, and I think that I think I've been a proponent of the long game for as long as I've been in it, and there's a lot of like start over and adjust and all of that, but it's still this long arc, So I think just like you were talking about also, like with you being a teacher of other people along different lines, I'm still teaching, and in terms of mindfulness and meditation, I wrote a children's book, and I'm working on another one, and I think what this quarantine situation has done also is just like helped me to expand my sense of who I am as a creative. You know what I mean? It's like and I used to kind of compartmentalize, like, well, this is my artist life, this is my meditation sort of wellness life, and but it's really like once like that singular concept of you are enough, that's what I want to express through everything that I do. So it's like as I am living my life statement, like through my art, through my work, you know what I mean? It just becomes your life's work. I was at a festival, and there was a artist, somebody was like asking me for advice, and I was like, well, just figure out what it is that you really want, the feeling that you want to leave with people. What do you want people to come away with when they experience you? And when you have that kind of idea in your mind, then no matter what you do, just do that. Just give people that experience, whether you're talking to them, whether you're making music, whether it's posting on the internet, whatever it is, just give them what you want them to receive at all times, and your work will be done. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I think that's something that's amazing, and I think it's something that people can take even a step further and apply it to their own life.
For sure.
When you're having conversations with other people, whether it's over the internet or in person, what do you want to leave with them? Like, what do you want them to walk away from the conversation feeling, thinking, and having those intentions? And I think you do that so well with your music, and of course it's been crafted over time. Of course you're a very seasoned artist, you've done it as a full-time career, and it's like a lot of people, I think, especially in this genre, and I'm sure in other genres, I'm just not personally experienced in other genres, it's more about the short game in a lot of people's minds. How can I get here to here on the festival circuit in as little as a time as possible, instead of thinking about the long term, and like, this is your life. Like it isn't a hobby. And I think it's so cool because, like, younger kids, like people my age, we all get into this and we're like, let's go. And it feels like a dream because you're like, I'm not working. Like, this is my like dream. This is my fucking like passion. But at one point you have to be like, okay, but this is my career. And if you want to do this for a career and not stop by the time you're in your late 20s, early 30s, you have to build, and you have to build bricks, and you got to build the bricks one on top of the other. And there's going to be a hurricane at one point that knocks it down, and you're going to have to build it again. And I think overcoming those things, and really everybody has their own journey, and it's so easy to compare yourself to another person in your shoe, but you have no idea what their perspective is and what their past is like, and what they're doing day to day. So it's like, you can only, the second that you can put your blinders on and realize that it's you against you, and
Yeah.
you're the only one that's going to get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
And you're going to meet people along the way that help you get to the next step that might not be the right match, and you go on to somebody else that matches your vision.
Yeah.
It's okay, but you have to have that like confinement within yourself, that self-diligence of like, this is my journey, and just because I'm not where I need to be doesn't mean I'm not going to get there, because
Yeah.
you're the only one that's going to let yourself get canceled over a stupid Twitter war,
Yeah,
or let
yeah.
yourself or let yourself get canceled because something bad happened at a show, or X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z. And it's like, looking at the big picture again, it's like, I'm bigger than this.
Right.
Like, this is one very small bump in the
Yeah.
road of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like I have just such a different outlook on a lot of things because of quarantine, and because of like having to sit here and being like, okay, we all have such an amazing skill set in what we do.
Yeah.
And we really only apply it to this much, you know?
Yeah.
We really only use this much. And then it's like you writing the children's book, or me teaching lessons, or me doing
Right.
post-production work for independent films. And it's like, you have this huge toolbox, and there's so much more you can do than just DJ and just
Yeah.
produce. And it's cool. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely been rough, but a lot of my personal friends have made huge kind of gains in this time mentally. And
Yeah, definitely.
creative wise. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are thinking a lot cleaner. I know a
Yeah.
lot of friends who had substance problems, alcoholic problems, that
Yeah.
no longer have them because, you know, they went. But then the other side too, it's like, at what cost do we measure, you know, our society shutting down, with people who have gone into a state of depression, with people
Yeah, for sure.
turn of getting sober because they were partying all the time,
Yeah.
kind of turn to alcohol and substances
Yeah.
to make themselves feel better. And
Yeah.
and I don't know, we're in like such a weird time.
It is a weird
saying that, but it's so weird.
It is a super weird time. I mean, I definitely, you know, as much as I mean, I talk about on my single, like the single in this moment. So like, there's so many different parts of that single that like kind of touch on what we've been talking about. Like, the hook itself is like, look at yourself in this moment, ask yourself, how do you feel? All that you have is this moment. That's the only thing that's real.
Oh,
And
chills all over, head to toe.
and I thank you. And so, but the in the first line, in the first verse, there's a line that says, I fell in love with cocaine, it's a flirt. Search for the feeling, escaping the hurt. Mix it with Tito's, don't mix it with needles. I'm wet like a fish and I'm high like an eagle. Becoming the villain, supplying my ego. One moment the hero, the next one I'm evil. I don't know who I am half of the time. Let it all go, if I black out it's fine. I'm sick of dealing with life, it's a chore. Really don't want to feel nothing no more. Do it from sundown to sundown again. Bracing myself for the come down again, hating myself in the come down again, wait for the party to come round again. I know my teacher would be disappointed. All of the training he gave me was pointless, but even though right now I feel like I'm worthless, I'm gonna just look at my mind and observe it. And
my heart, yeah.
yes. So I definitely, so you know, I mean, I know that like my overall expressions on, you know, in general are about positivity, but it's but definitely like found myself in that tough spot with you know, with drugs and alcohol for sure. And you know,
Like a lot of people in our industry.
yeah, I mean, it just happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, how else are you gonna stay up and network at the after party?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Make the flight at 6
and make
a.m. in the
flight
morning.
yo,
And yeah.
you're not gonna go to sleep, you know,
Yeah.
some that type of shit. But I mean, you know, if you can end up turning your like Carrie Fisher said, take your broken heart and turn it into art. You know, I mean, what I realized is like there was so much like unresolved like pain and just my general social anxiety that like you know, when I walk into a room with a bunch of people, even though I'm an extrovert, there's like a deep current of introvertedness in me. So
I am the same way. I
To-
am the same way.
to get into to be able to walk into the room and not have to build up over time, I just get in the room and just get fucking trashed, you know what I mean? And then so that I can start talking, you know.
Yeah.
But then who knows what I'm gonna who knows? Then after the fact, I'm like, did I say something fucking stupid? Did I offend somebody? Did I do something? And then you just got all this shit rooming around in your head. So I've just really, and then in the beginning of quarantine, like I found myself just, you know, also just putting the vodka away like a lot, you know, just trying to mitigate against. So it was an opportunity to just take a good look at myself also and just be like, you know, this is not healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so as much as okay. I guess I have a meeting coming up. I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
we can totally, we'll wrap
No,
it
no,
up in
no.
a few minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As much as so, it's for me. It's important for people to know that, like, even though, like, I generally have a very positive, like, outlook and message, that there's a lot that I am working through personally as a human being, and I'm not really able. The last album I put out, on Tribal Trap, called 1111, I was able to touch on some of those things as well, but I feel like in a space where everybody's always waiting for the drop, you know, a deeper message like that can kind of get lost. What I love about what we did was that the lyrics weren't so dense that people could just get them right away. But like,
Yeah.
I really like to mess with wordplay and stuff like that. So I really wanted to talk more about my issues with depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, drugs, alcohol, and how self-love and my meditation practice helped me come out of all of that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I feel like more people relate to that as well. And I think
Yeah.
the only way that you get someone like yourself preaching such a positive message is to go to the dark place and come
Yeah,
out
for
of the
sure.
dark place and learn and go through that journey.
Yeah.
And what I think is amazing about our song is I was listening to a big YouTuber reviewed our song
Oh, really?
yeah, it was really cool. I'll send you the link. I was like,
Nice.
I was waiting for it because I knew he was going to do the Disciple compilation, and I was like, this motherfucker. I was like, he's going to throw my song in the trash. Da, 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 da. And he loved it. And what he said, which is elaborating on your points, is that there was like this 4D element that you don't really get in songs, where you were talking to the audience and the
Yeah.
audience got what you were saying just like that. But not only was it very sentimental and a message that you normally don't get alongside like bang and drops,
Right.
the fact that the contrast worked very well together.
Yeah.
And the contrast of taking it from this very almost ambient lo-fi orchestrated progression into rhythm, into
Yeah.
big dubstep, bro step drop.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very special. And I really hope that people not only can just start utilizing vocals more in their electronic
Yeah.
dance tracks, because they have to get, people live in their like own little world sometimes, and the producer world is like, oh, let me hear that nasty sound design, and oh, let me
Yeah.
like hear the drop and the structure, and like, oh, that was a clean ass mix down. But they
Yeah.
don't understand that the regular consumer attaches itself most to words.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
most, you know, you think about the most memorable EDM songs, you think
Yeah.
about the pre-drop lyrics, or you think
Yeah.
about the chorus, the vocal, the hook, the
Right.
bridge.
Yeah.
And I really hope that people can do it with a meaningful message, just as like we did, just as like, you know,
Yeah.
1111, just as like your new album,
Yeah.
because I think it's just something that not only brings a certain level of like 4D relatability, but
Yeah.
it helps people, and it helps people be like, okay, like let me, wow, like that kind of sounds like me. Like let
Yeah.
me take a look in. And it's like, that's why we do it. Like we
Yeah.
do make art for ourselves. I mean, I do it for myself too.
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
a great stress reliever, and like I have to be happy with my own music. Like
Definitely.
definitely I want to say like the audience does come second in my periphery vision of like, if I like a track, like yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be nervous to put it out. Yeah, I'm gonna be nervous about what people say. Like I deal with that all the time about what people are thinking about me, but like number one is making sure that I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
me and the collaborators and whatever are very happy with the product. And I think it's just a way that once you're able to do that, you realize that no matter what you put out, if you fully believe in it and you're happy as hell with it, someone else will be happy with it. And somebody else will find that relatability in it. And I think that's why I do this podcast, is because there's like this wall that we hold, especially as DJs, as whatever, that you never get to hear people speak like this. And it's very cool, because like the podcasts are like the new hot thing. People, people are drawn to uncensored things, things that are not filtered, things that are not cut out, things that are not edited. And I think it's very special, the space that, we created today for people to listen to. I know they're going to love it. And for future people just to come on and talk. But I'm so excited for your label.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yay. So first single is February
5th. It's called In This Moment.
Music video shortly after, right?
Music video, maybe same day, but definitely within the same week. Yeah, for sure. And my wife's in the video, my son's in the video. It's going to be really dope. So I just saw the first cut, and I'm really happy with where we're going. And there'll be there's going to be a lot of content around this. So we'll have the video. There'll be like a little short film. There will be a lyric video. There will be an animated short. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I can't wait to see. I'm going to link your website, your music, everything below, so people can check it out in the bio.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Fortnite, everybody.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
And please stream our new song, Wild Style, on Cycle Roundtable.
No doubt.
You're
Love
amazing.
working with you, and I can't wait for us to do something again.
We're absolutely going to work again. I can't wait until I meet you in person one day.
Yeah.
Beautiful soul. Thank you so much. I hope
Thank
you have a
you
good
so
one.
much.
I'm going to stop recording.
Okay, cool.